It's creamy, it's old school, and some people swear it's a miracle elixir. Others? They think it's basically a bacterial time bomb in a bottle. We're talking about raw milk. Milk that comes straight from the cow, unpasteurized, unprocessed, and, according to its fans, untouched perfection. But is raw milk really healthier, or is it just riskier? Why has something as simple as a glass of milk turned into one of the most heated debates in the food world? Time to churn through the creamy controversy, right here on History of Food. Let's start with the basics. Most milk you buy at the grocery store has been pasteurized, meaning it's been heated to about 161 degrees Fahrenheit or 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds to kill off harmful bacteria. That's been the standard for over a century. Raw milk, on the other hand, skips that step entirely. It's milk as it comes out of the udder, strained and cooled, but not heated. For some, that's exactly the point. They argue that pasteurization kills the good bacteria, enzymes, and nutrients that make milk special. In other words, raw milk is the farm-to-table version of dairy, or as some enthusiasts would call it, milk the way nature intended. Although, to be fair, nature also intended salmonella, so maybe we shouldn't trust her too much. Raw milk isn't a hipster fad. It's how humans drank milk for most of history. People have been milking cows, goats, sheep, and even camels for thousands of years. It was only in the late 1800s and early 1900s that pasteurization became standard practice. Why? Because cities were growing, farms were getting bigger, and milk wasn't always fresh by the time it reached consumers. Outbreaks of diseases like tuberculosis, brucellosis, and listeria were linked to raw milk. Pasteurization came along and dramatically cut those risks, and public health improved. So while raw milk was the original, pasteurized milk was the upgrade. Raw milk supporters make some bold claims. They say it's richer in nutrients like vitamins B12 and C, though science says the difference is minimal. They argue that it contains beneficial bacteria that support gut health, though again, many of those don't survive stomach acid anyway. One of the most common arguments is that raw milk may help prevent allergies and asthma. A few small studies, particularly in children raised on farms, suggest a link between raw milk consumption and lower allergy risk. Scientists aren't entirely sure why. It could be the microbes or just the overall exposure to farm life. And then there's taste. Fans swear raw milk tastes creamier, fresher, and more alive. If you grew up drinking it straight from the cow, regular pasteurized milk can taste flat by comparison. Now let's get to the part that has public health officials sweating. Raw milk can, and often does, carry dangerous bacteria like E. coli, salmonella, campylobacter, and listeria. These aren't just stomach bugs. They can cause severe illness, especially in children, the elderly, and pregnant women. Between 1998 and 2022, the CDC recorded over 200 outbreaks linked to raw milk in the U.S. alone, resulting in thousands of illnesses and several deaths. That's not fear-mongering. Those are real numbers. And here's the kicker. You can't tell if raw milk is contaminated by looking at it, smelling it, or tasting it. It can look perfectly normal and still be dangerous. When pasteurization was introduced in the early 20th century, it was hailed as a public health miracle. Milk-related diseases plummeted. Infant mortality rates dropped. People stopped getting tuberculosis from their breakfast cereal. It's one of those rare times in history when a simple process saved millions of lives, all without changing the taste or nutritional profile significantly. That's why virtually every health authority in the world, from the World Health Organization to the CDC, still recommends pasteurized milk over raw. Despite the risks, raw milk has seen a resurgence, especially among health-conscious consumers and back-to-the-land enthusiasts. Farmers markets sell it. Cow shares allow people to legally obtain them. Some wellness influencers tout it as a superfood. For many, it's not just about nutrition. It's about rejecting industrial food systems and connecting with traditional ways of eating. There's a romantic appeal to the idea of milk straight from a happy cow on a small farm. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Even the happiest, cleanest cows can carry dangerous bacteria, and even the most careful farmers can't guarantee 100% safety. Raw milk's popularity has also led to legal battles. In many U.S. states, it's illegal to sell raw milk for human consumption. In others, it's heavily regulated. Some states get around the laws with pet milk labels, while others use cow share programs where customers technically own part of the cow. The result? A legal patchwork where raw milk might be easy to find in one place and nearly impossible in another. Ironically, these restrictions only seem to make some people want it more, because nothing says health food like a side of legal rebellion. If you are going to drink raw milk, experts have one big piece of advice: know your source. Small farms with good hygiene practices are safer than random roadside sellers. Cold storage is critical, since bacteria multiply quickly at warm temperatures. Still, even under ideal conditions, risk remains. Pasteurization doesn't exist because farmers are sloppy. It exists because bacteria are everywhere. Here's where it gets interesting. Some dairy enthusiasts argue for a middle ground. They say if you want the benefits of raw milk without the risks, fermented dairy like kefir, yogurt, or aged cheeses might be the answer. These products start with raw milk, but go through microbial changes that reduce harmful bacteria while preserving some of the good ones. In other words, it's possible to enjoy a taste of that raw milk vibe without gambling with your intestines. The raw milk movement isn't just about food, it's about identity. For many, it's a way to feel connected to nature, to tradition, to something real. It's the same impulse that drives people toward sourdough baking, heirloom vegetables, and backyard chickens. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's worth remembering that natural doesn't always mean safe. Arsenic is natural. So is poison ivy, and so are the bacteria that can make raw milk dangerous. Here's the twist. The pasteurization movement was once controversial too. In the early 1900s, many people resisted it, calling it unnatural and insisting that raw milk was healthier. Sound familiar? Over a century later, we're still having the same argument, just with fancier branding and Instagram hashtags. The irony is that pasteurization didn't make milk fake. It made milk safer for more people in more places for longer periods of time. Without it, modern dairy as we know it wouldn't exist. So, is raw milk healthier or just riskier? The truth is, it's a little of both. It may have a slight nutritional edge and a richer taste, but it also comes with real risks that pasteurized milk doesn't. For most people, the safest and smartest choice is the one that doesn't come with a side of food poisoning. But if you're determined to drink raw milk, go in with your eyes open, know where it comes from, handle it carefully, and understand the risks. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.